Hello my friends, what's up? After the last video where we ranted about Pig's balance proposal, I created my own little list, my balance proposal. Please watch the entire video before you judge. Trust me, it makes a lot of sense. Let's just get started. So these are the first changes. Things might change, but as you can see, my goals, they are very positive for the game. I want to have more variety in the game. I want to make units more useful again, and because of that, we're gonna have a lot of strong changes, mainly buffs. So let's get started with Taran. I think the current Cyclone is not that much fun to use. So I would like to have the last Cyclone back. I mean, the current Cyclone is bugged as well, you know, like nobody likes it. Like Zerg say it's like so overpowered with like the bug. So let's just revert it back to the old Cyclone. I think that makes a lot of sense because that gives Blizzard a little bit of room to like actually fix the bug. I feel like if we just change it back to what it was originally in the last patch, there's a chance that maybe the bug will be fixed, and then Zergs are obviously happy. Then we have our Reactor Cyclone back, which also makes it more useful again, obviously against Protoss, as I think it was quite powerful against Protoss. We saw a lot of Cyclone openings, some nice cheeses. I mean, cheese play is just a lot of fun to see. So I'd really like to bring not the old Cyclone, but the Cyclone from the last patch back. I think that would make a lot of things better in the game. For Water Mines, I actually agree with Pig's change, and Hastam also suggested that. The Water Mine should be invisible again after the armory is done. So instead of getting like drilling claws to make it invisible, you just get an armory. And I also did a small splash in like radius increase from 1.5 to 2.0 to bring it at a reasonable value. It's just a small change from 1.5 to like 2.0. It's not gonna be like the biggest difference. I mean, if you see my other changes, you realize how much sense this actually makes. I think that way Water Mines would become more useful against, especially against Protoss, and the invisibility, yeah, it's not a big problem. It's completely fine, and to compensate for it, I increased the cost of the armory. Armory should be more expensive again. I mean, if you buff Water Mine like that, even if it's just a small change from like 1.5 to like 2.0. I feel like you at the same time have to also like nerf something. Obviously, I don't want to nerf a lot of things, so I just thought like increasing the cost of the armory and make it a third more expensive in gas is actually quite a lot, and yeah, that will make like cheeses, like annoying cheeses, less prominent, let's say. But obviously we want to have like some more cheeses back. What we do have is a build time decrease on the bunker. We can bunker rush again. Bunker rush kind of fell flat, so I kind of do want to bring it back. And then the last change is actually pretty simple. A barracks shouldn't require a supply depot to be built. It should require the command center. That should be the requirement to build a CC. Like I said, I kind of want to build like, or get like bunker rushes back into the game. And I think we're in the state of the game where proxy ranks should be back into the game. It makes for more strategies. It makes more fun. No, I mean, I'm obviously kidding. I mean, I think I made it obvious enough, I hope, with these changes. I don't actually have any other changes. I wrote down Ghost as a little bit of a bait. I actually ended up not using this. But no, we don't make balanced proposals here. This is a joke. If it wasn't obvious enough, the small change from 1.5 to 2.0 should not happen. I am not going to make any balanced proposal. Now the real part of the video starts. Like, balance proposals, in my opinion, are stupid. We're not game designers. Like, I'm a pro gamer. I'm not a game designer. So what is the difference between a game designer and a pro? Well, the game designer is like a full-time job that takes care of like these tasks. And me as a pro, I'm good at the game. I can give you some input, but like it doesn't make me a good game designer, if you know what I mean. So I can tell you what the problems are. I can give you like a rough idea. That way, like the balance designer can make like the changes. So here, for example, we see Hastam's like balance changes. And you might ask, why did I not make a video about Hastam's balance changes? And what do I mean with like a pro is not a game designer? Well, if we take a look at Hastam's like changes, they make sense. If I'm looking at these changes, like he wants to like sort of nerf overcharge in the early game in particular. He wants to like give Dark Templars a little bit more strength. Toss can use them more often again in late game. Sure, I mean, like that's fine to me. He wants to give Taran a buff, which is necessary, because like me as a pro, I can tell you like Taran in TvP is not good right now. We need a buff. A Water Mine buff like that, good. Yeah, good change. He nerfs Overcharge, he gives the Water Mine strong buff, and he makes like Dark Templars slightly, like really small like buff. So overall I would say, like looking at it as a pro, yeah, these changes make sense. And then like there's some Zerg stuff as well we see on the list. But what is the problem with this? So the problem with this list is basically that these changes will just not change a lot in the game. What these changes will accomplish is probably a better balance, that's true. But like the game will ultimately be the same, and there's no more like fun attributes in the game or whatever. It will essentially be the same. So that's kind of the issue with like pro gamers like making changes. That's one thing. These changes are very underwhelming. From like a balance point of view, good changes, they make sense. From like a game design point of view, like if you want to bring like new strategies or whatever, not necessarily these changes make a lot of sense. So why did I choose to make a video on picks changes and not on like Hastam changes? Well, pretty simple. From like a pro perspective, when I look at these changes from pick, they're atrocious. Like from a balance point of view, they're absolutely atrocious. Like I said in my previous video, that's the main reason I made that. If you give like the ghost a light tag, you buff like the disruptor. In the current state of TVP, these changes would make the balance so bad. And while it's true I didn't watch the entire video and I might not have understood some of the main points of his video, I'm talking from mainly a pro perspective and like the balance. These changes are simply not great from that point of view. I mean, watch my video from last time. I've made a lot of points over there. I don't really want to go in detail with that as well. Also, another thing I want to mention about Pick's video, these changes, a lot of them are essentially just reverting, oh, I'm going to revert this, I'm going to revert that. So like a lot of these changes, I don't think are even going to accomplish anything, like more variety or whatever he wants, more cheese builds and whatever. I feel like a lot of these changes probably don't accomplish that anyways. So ultimately, I just thought these changes were like so bad from a balance point of view that I just kind of had to make a video like that. I might have been like a little bit too emotional, but I mean, you know me. I didn't cut the video. Maybe I'm gonna cut this video to make it a little bit more like valuable. So to go back to my main point on what this video is about. So essentially, to summarize everything, I realized that when I actually thought about making these joke changes, it takes a lot of work to design a good patch. I actually was seriously thinking, okay, what would I change to make it like look like I'm actually being reasonable here and I'm actually not just making joke changes like I just showed you. And I came to the realization that this is actually extremely hard. It's extremely hard, A, to come up with changes, B, to balance these changes as well, and C, to actually like, have an impact with these changes, you know, to actually have more variety, for example. This is the job, I think, of like a game designer that does it full time. And that's what we're lacking. The balance council or like some content creator thinking about changes for a couple hours just doesn't really work out. We need someone like in a full-time position to actually do the job that also knows how to do the job, because it is like a full-time job essentially. What is also worth mentioning is that the main issue with, oh yeah guys, this is what I would change, or even with the balance council, is that it's mostly theorycraft. We don't have a lot of testing. So for example, if you watch like my patch like reaction video from last time to this current patch, I did like a reaction and I was like, oh my god, these changes look really good for Taran. What are the tosses doing in the balance council? I said something like that. What are the tosses doing in balance council? This sounds amazing for Taran. Pushes are going to be stronger, energy overcharge doesn't sound like that powerful. Well, I'm the pro. I was wrong. Suddenly Protoss is like overwhelming in TVP. That is a strong issue. Another issue is that a lot of times I feel like they change the map pool and the patch at the same time, ESL that is. Now I know the interaction with Blizzard is hard. We can't really criticize anything. But I think if you do a balance patch and change the map pool as well, it makes it kind of hard for like understanding like if the patch was actually the issue or like the map pool. Speaking of the map pool, actually, I've also heard different opinions about that. I've heard a lot of, like I said, a lot of like the content creators, they just kind of, at this point, people just say random stuff. Some people say like, we need more variety in the map pool. I feel like we have a lot of cheese maps in the past. We've had a lot of variety over the last couple map pools. And there's like a lot of creative maps. Now, if we do take a look at some of the statistics of recent tournaments, you will find one big issue with like a creative map pool. So these are the statistics from like the last Home Circuit Cup. And you will find out that in the entire tournament, there have been 176 maps played. And only 2 times Last Fantasy was played. 3-player map, really creative and fun, right? Maganatha only 7 times, Torches only 7 times. So you see a pattern where pro gamers, they just veto like non-standard maps. And I've heard that like a lot of the pro, like people say like, oh yeah, pros hate like these kind of like creative maps. And I can give you the reason why pro gamers veto these maps in tournaments. It's because they are imbalanced. People don't want to play maps like Incorporeal, for example, Taran. Like, look at Incorporeal here. It has not been played in a single Taran matchup. It was only played in PvZ. The reason behind that is in PvZ and PvP. And the reason behind that is pretty simple. This is a terrible map for Taran. I don't want to play it. I'm just gonna veto it. Now, it's not a non-standard map, so I guess we're gonna have to like talk about Last Fantasy. This is where I have to start a new rant. I'm not gonna go into the rant of like Last Fantasy, but I can guarantee you that this map is creative, but because of it being a 3-player map, it has actually a huge symmetry issue. And at the same time, it's like imbalanced. This map is not great. But anyways, I don't want to talk like too much about the map pool. Maybe that's for another video. Leave a comment. Tell me if you want to hear that. Let's talk about my opinion on StarCraft 2 design to quickly end the video here. So I think when it comes to StarCraft design, what I would actually change, like I said, it's a complicated matter. I wouldn't make one of these like balanced proposal videos, because like I said, it needs a lot of testing. The changes, like you need to test them. You can't just like make up like a list like this and like, here are my changes, this is gonna make the game better. You need to test, and if you test, you can also make crazy changes. So like if we actually want to have change, and this is just like me dreaming, obviously this is never gonna happen, but we need proper testing and we need strong changes. Strong changes are not gonna happen with like something like the Balance Council, because the Balance Council is just like an argument, because the Balance Council is just like pro gamers arguing between each other. I explained it the other time. There's like more like politics where like, if I'm part of the Balance Council, I want Taran to be buff because I make money from StarCraft like in tournaments. So obviously I'm like biased. I want to have like Taran win tournaments. So if I was part of the Balance Council, I would try to push for Taran buffs, but it's like kind of like politics. You have to like sound reasonable so people take you serious, but your intention is bad. Like your intention is, I want Taran to be buffed. I need to sound like I'm like a competent guy, basically. So what I would actually change in StarCraft 2, and that's like another discussion video. One thing that I feel like in game design in StarCraft that I just don't like, I don't like rapid fire in StarCraft 2. That's what I would change. I think rapid fire is not nice. I would prefer playing StarCraft 2 without rapid fire. Now, obviously, that would have huge impact on the balance. What kind of impact, once again, I can't really tell you. I mean, I know which units benefits from like rapid fire and which not. For example, Protoss Warbands would be nerfed significantly, and Ghost would be nerfed significantly, for instance. But also Zerg, like Ravager, Biles, and whatever. But yeah, like that's, for example, something I always think of. In my opinion, rapid fire should not be part of the game. I don't think it's something Blizzard ever really intended to make. It's something people came up with after checking out the hotkey system in StarCraft, and people just came up with that to like replace like the left mouse button on like snipe, for example, on like the hotkey for snipe, so you would just have to like hover your mouse. I don't think Blizzard ever really intended for that, but it has never really seemed like a problem. So I'm not sure about it, but that's my take. It's for discussion, but I mean, that's honestly something I would change. But that should already be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you another time. Yeah, feel free to discuss in the comments. I'm always there in the comments as well, and I hope to see you again. Bye bye.